Hi everyone, John here from LookSmart Home Inspections right here in the great state of New Jersey, performing great, thorough, comprehensive home inspections throughout the state of New Jersey. And I have a defects video today, so these are not all the defects I found over the last couple of weeks. These are just some of the defects, some of the more maybe interesting ones, and hopefully you guys can learn a little bit about the defects that home inspectors find. And remember, when you guys are looking for a home inspector, you want somebody with plenty of experience, thousands of home inspections and satisfied customers, who doesn't rush a home inspection, who provides a great, very detailed home inspection report, 80 or 90 pages long, full of pictures of the defects and problems that we find in homes, and somebody, of course, who's going to be available after the home inspection to answer your questions. So let's take a look at this video. Let's look at some of these defects and see what we have today. Taking a look at the exterior of this house today, 1970s built house, but as we look around the exterior, we see a lot of standing water close to the foundation. Look at all this standing water right here. That's very close to the home. Right here, home's here, standing water's here. Good that they have this downspout extension. Also in the front of the house, we also have some standing water, and we have a little bit, you can hardly see it, a little bit of a grade going towards the front of this house. You see the standing water over here. So you go to a house and you look at this, you look for this type of thing, you have to understand that your basement or your crawl space lower level is going to be subjected to vulnerability for water infiltration, just because we have all of this standing water. The more standing water that we have outside of a home, the more hydraulic or hydrostatic pressure that can be exerted on the foundation walls, even if there is a sump pump. So we're going to look hard when we go down inside this house, inside this basement, to see if we have a water problem. And I can almost guarantee you, by looking what I see out here, that we're probably going to have a water problem in this basement. So you're looking at a house, take a look at this around the house for standing water. It is winter, but I can probe right through this soil. It is not frozen. It's not frozen, and it should be draining a lot better than we see today. We can see out here this old patio has a negative pitch that's going to direct water to the rear foundation wall of this house. Now, we already know that we have a ton of standing water around this home. So the last thing we want to see right now is a patio also that's going to direct water to the house. And we'll take a hard look inside to see if there's going to be problems. But whenever you see something like this and standing water around the home, you always want to make sure that your patio has a nice gentle slope away from the foundation walls, at least 1/8 of an inch per foot away, to direct your water away and not towards the foundation of the house. This is the house with all the water laying around the outside of it. And here we can see a foundation mid-wall crack here. These cracks usually occur at the soil line right there. So this is definitely a structural crack caused by hydraulic pressure pushing against that foundation wall. They usually occur at the mortar joint. That is the weak point in the wall. And you can see that we go basically the whole length of this very large basement that we have here. So for sure, this is going to need correction. An engineer should be brought in just in order to determine what the corrections are. Maybe carbon fiber strapping would be the way to go here. I'm not sure, but usually that's how this is corrected. But you can see that crack going through that foundation wall, the whole length of this very long wall. Zinsco main electrical service panel. You see all these snappy, colorful breakers right here. Indication of a Zinsco panel. Look for the Zinsco name. Fire safety hazard. Google it, go online, just type in Zinsco and electrical problems or fire, and a lot of information will come up. So we always recommend that these old panels made by the Zinsco company be replaced for fire safety hazards. These guardrails here don't meet modern standards or requirements for safety. They have openings that are wider than 4 inches. So guardrails can't have an opening that's wider than 4 inches for safety. And when you're looking at a guardrail, you always want to give it a push, right? Oh yeah, look at that. That's safe. So there's a safety issue right there for sure. This is not what we want to see when we're outside a house and we're looking at a sump pump discharge pipe. Here's the sump pump discharge pipe. Then we have this black landscaping pipe right here. Then we go uphill, like water doesn't flow uphill, right out here, right? And then we have just this big pile of standing water right here. Now this is actually not even being caused by the sump pump. Here we can see the sump pump starting to discharge here. So we're hoping that it's going to make it into that black pipe. We also have a big ass leak over here. And what are we doing? We're putting tons and tons of water, gallons of water, hundreds probably gallons, around at this right corner of this house. Now when I go into this home, it is for sure, I guarantee that there's going to be a water leakage problem, efflorescence, and foundation damage right in this right side rear corner, caused by all of the years of this water just saturating right here. Here we have a gas meter that has settled. So the gas piping underneath the ground has settled, causing this gas meter to be rotated to the left side. Now it doesn't look like this is a problem yet, but I've seen them like this where this can actually cause leakage. This can cause stress to these connections right here and down here, and can cause gas leakage in these locations. So this is something that utility companies should come out to just check and make sure this is still safe. I've seen them before where they'll come out and say it's not safe, and they'll install a new gas meter and new piping here. So just something to take a look at when you're thinking about buying a house, or even in your own home. Look at that gas meter and make sure it hasn't settled like this. See all these rodent droppings at the bottom of the electrical panel box? This is a safety hazard because the rodents can gnaw the wires and actually, die in here, causing arcing, an electrical, safety hazard. They are coming in from the top opening right here, right at that bushing. So rodents can enter any space that is about the size of your pinky finger. So this has to be properly sealed. You see these rodent droppings at the bottom of the electrical box. A lot of times when we'll have a service lateral like this, and it'll settle below ground, so it'll actually move and settle, and a lot of times we'll find that it's actually pulling away from the home like this. Now this is not a major issue, but if it were to get worse, it would be. We don't want, obviously, the electric meter pulling away from the home. So this is something that we're going to write in our report, and hopefully the client will make some corrections on that. But that's a service lateral pulling away from the home, or an electric meter, I should say, pulling away from the home. So I'm under this deck, and there's nothing connecting this beam to the underside of these joists right here. So the beam is actually rotating away from the deck, and it's actually cracked here too. So 2-member built up beam is cracked. So this is going to have to be corrected for sure. If we move back here, we can see the rotation of that beam away from the house, and that's because of lack of attachment under the joist. So that'll have to be corrected. It's not a deck that's high off the ground. Not a tremendous safety hazard, but definitely a safety hazard anyway. I don't like the way this chimney right here is installed so close to that vinyl siding. A chimney that vents a heating equipment, a boiler, furnace, water heater, what have you, has to be at least 2 feet above that ridge line to properly draft. Also, I don't like this metal piping being so close to this vinyl siding as well, because the piping is going to get hot and we can have damage to the vinyl siding, although I really don't see that right now. But this is a safety concern for me, I'm going to call it out when the customer gets here. So this is something that should be addressed. So that chimney should be raised or relocated just for safety reasons, so that can properly draft whatever equipment is on the inside of this house. Just want to thank you guys for watching that video. And remember, when you're looking at these really expensive houses in New Jersey, make sure you keep your eyes open when you're inside and outside of the house, and make sure you hire the right home inspector, somebody who's going to be on your side, an independent New Jersey home inspector who's going to be your advocate in this house purchase, because sometimes I feel that the real estate process is just geared against a person buying a home, and you really need to have somebody on your side working hard to find the problems in the house that you're buying in New Jersey, because these homes are like $500,000 plus now, and that's a lot of money for the most people. So thank you for your attention. I certainly appreciate it. Remember, when you're in a house, stay empowered and keep your eyes open.